Oh.
From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Cajun Rob here. Anyway, I got Mr. Shaun Leytem here with us. Hey, Shaun, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Rob? Great.
Doing good. Mr. John's kind of under the weather, so it's just me and you, so we got this. But for the folks that don't know you, kind of introduce yourself and your background and kind of where you're from, and kind of run through that real quick and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Don't want to go through like the whole life story or anything, but
No.
Like people, I've been fishing since I was a little kid, fishing farm ponds, and then grew up watching Bassmaster and Hank Parker Outdoors, Bill Dance, all that stuff. Bassmaster in the morning, watching whatever the heck it was with Bob Cobb on there and stuff, Fish Burn, all that, and just got inspired by all that, and eventually got my first boat when I turned 18. Then I turned 19, got my second boat, and then stuff in life happens. Fish a bunch of team tournaments, fish some FLW tournaments as a co-angler. Then stuff happens in life. Lost one of my fishing partners, and it happened. He probably passed away at 37, and just took a break from fishing, and started going to church more, just trying to felt lost for a while. Then I just was just fishing a lake one time that I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get back into fishing, and ran into someone, just asked him, hey, is there any bass clubs around here? Then hooked up with the Oro Madre Bass Club, and started fishing them, and then started fishing, I think it's the Bass Federation, fish some Bass Nation stuff, and kind of started getting back into it. And like some people, you fishing, you kind of wait for your buddy to go fishing. Hey, when you taking your boat out? When you taking your boat out? Because I end up sold my boats a while back, going through some tough times and stuff, and talked to some buddies at work, got back into the kayak scene. And the kayak scene in California is just huge. Like, we get some tournaments, the native tournament when it comes out here, we're around like 200 kayaks on some of these lakes, and it's something. And you get the best of the best coming out here from all different states. We also do it's like the West Coast Kayak Alliance, I think it is. All the Western states are all part of it. They all have different qualifiers, and we have our version of like the West Coast Classics, the West Coast Championship, and have it at Clear Lake. And it's pretty much the best in the West, from Utah, from Washington, Arizona, Colorado, all the other states in between, all qualify and should pretty much show up to Clear Lake, and we fish a 2-day tournament. And that's pretty much where I'm at now. I'm real focused on the kayak scene, because boats just pretty expensive right now.
Yeah, it is insane. But I'm kind of with you. I've gotten kind of the kayak game late. I just kind of got into it last summer, and man, I love it. It kind of brings it back when I was a kid. I got kind of the same background. I went fishing a lot of ponds around. I was born and raised South Mississippi, South Louisiana area, and had some little canoes and pirogues and whatnot. So it kind of gets me back to my roots, but it feels good.
Yeah. And with kayaks these days and all the upgrades you could get, for pretty much with my kayak, I could have got like a used tracker or something like that for how much money I got in this kayak. But it's super competitive. You could go when you want. You get access to that real skinny kind of water that boats can't get back into. And there's some good anglers out on the West Coast, and we have a lot of guys that qualify to go back east and fish, or fishing the Bassmaster Series, stuff like that, and on the kayak side, of course. Then I got on with you see RB Bass Outdoors.
Yep.
We recently just got rated the second, I guess the second biggest like bass blog, I guess you could say, So it's great to be part of that. We're growing. We all try to promote each other, promote the sport, and all that fun stuff. I mean, it's what we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And before the show, we was talking about I fished a BFL out in Tennessee last weekend, and I went through Dale Hollow, and it was kayaks everywhere. They had like 234 kayaks, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's super, super competitive, and everyone's got their life scopes now, and we all got the fastest electric motors they make, and I love it. It's a whole new scene. One thing that I've noticed, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, the kayak scene compared to the boat scene. Not all boaters, but some boaters, they're real secretive and stuff. When you see them on the water, you're at the launch ramp. Hey, how'd you guys do today? We got a limit. Oh, how big? Oh, 12, 13 pounds. They end up weighing like 20 pounds or something. Kayak guys, you ask them how they're doing, and they'll tell you everything. They're like, it's just a whole different kind of angler. They just want to share all the information, share baits with you. Hey, go over here. This is what they're buying on. Hey, they're not on the points. They're just inside. And a lot of the guys would get together and camp before the tournaments and stuff. So these guys, there's some good chefs we have that we fish with. It's just a big hangout, a lot of good camaraderie, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and I've noticed even during a kayak tournament, guys will get together and talk like during the tournament. It's wild.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. It's neat. It's definitely neat.
Yeah, like I said, I picked up on it. It's a different vibe. I don't know how to. It's just a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but it's cool.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah, and we got one quick comment. Scooter 916 wave. Hey, what's up, Scooter? Checking in.
Oh, Scooter from 916. That's out in Sacramento area.
Oh, cool. Good deal.
Right on.
All right. Yeah, I know. Seems like California, they'll. I know there's certain lures out there that's hot, that's nowhere else. It's kind of funny, they go through phases, and I know Clear Lake. I got a tackle shop, and I know last year I was talking to one of the ladies on a tackle shop. She said, "Oh yeah, the frog bite's on. They're only catching 7-8 pounders." Really?
Yeah. So I don't know what the West Coast, we had that little era of the big swim baits and stuff for a while, and everyone's throwing big Huddlestons, all these big 9-inch, 10-inch baits and stuff, and even bigger baits now, 12 to 13-inch glide baits. But as of recent, especially Clear Lake's always been known to throw big baits, and everyone's catching these, their personal best. And honestly, I would say the last few big tournaments that have come through, we had the One Bass Clear Lake Open that came through there for 3 days, 3-day total, 103 pounds.
Jeez.
That's a 3-day total. You do the math on that.
That's some dirty 30 sacks coming in.
And these guys were shaking a minnow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, there were some guys that are throwing glide baits, but they said predominantly they're shaking a minnow. 5-inch Sakamata shad was one of the main baits, or something similar.
Yeah,
people throwing. This past week, there was a BBT tournament. Saturday, it took, I think, 31 pounds. Then Sunday, it was, I think, 33 pounds.
Wow.
Throwing a 4-inch minnow. So everything's changing on that lake. A lot of lakes in here, I believe on the West Coast, go in cycles.
Yeah.
Clear Lake, we had some drought, a couple of drought years that came through California. Lakes were super low. Clear Lake was super low. You can't even launch a boat. It got so low. But then the last couple of years, waters came up. We had a lot new brush and stuff growing along the banks, some real successful spawns. The shad are coming back. There used to be a big shad die off. So there's shad, there's hitch in there. which is native to Clear Lake, and they're like the size of this 10-inch mag draft. Or
Wow.
big. Like it's a native fish to Clear Lake, and those big bass, that's just one of the many things they would eat in there. And that they're just pushing out some huge fish out of Clear Lake right now. But it's not somewhere you're going to catch them every cast or something. People are putting some work in to really get them.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing, that forward-facing technology. We never knew that, fish are suspended out in deep water over nothing, around no bait, nothing, and they're just suspended out, and it's really taught a lot of us, fish behavior, throwing out minnows, and then one they'll follow, you'll change like the color or the size, and then they'll follow it and eat it. I mean, it's amazing, that technology, how much it clues us into the fish behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. I know people argue about it on social media, and they say it's cheating. They say you can argue till you're blue in the face.
Oh yeah.
People like them, people that don't. Nobody likes change, but in my own opinion, I use it.
Yep.
I can't say I'm like a super good scoper. I've been successful in tournaments, getting suspended fish to bite little 4-inch Yum sonar minnow.
Yep.
But I like to use it just to find the weed lines. There's like in August and at Clear Lake, for instance, you'll get all this weed growth, and I'm literally looking for the pockets in the weeds, and I'm just pitching a drop shot or pitching something out there. And it's a tool. And again, like you said, you're seeing how the fish are reacting to your bait. You could be throwing that jerk bait around and they don't like your cadence. Maybe they don't like the color, and that's when you start changing stuff up, and you start making stuff happen. So.
Oh yeah, and it hats off these young guys that's really good at it. I mean, they're putting the time in. I mean, these guys are fishing all week, all weekend, like year round. I mean, they're putting the time in, and it does take time to get it kind of figured out. So hey, hats off them guys. And I got it on my wish list. I mean, I'm slowly upgrading my kayak here and there, so it's on the wish list. I'll eventually get it.
Yeah, it's just neat, and just finding that structure. You fish more efficiently. Gosh, and I use it with a hydro wave also.
Yeah.
Another thing that not many people talk about, or they kind of question. I'll turn that hydro wave on, and I'll get those fish I can't see on the bottom just to rise up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can see you guys now. I'll turn it off, or I'll back off and start tossing to them fish.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I had a tournament on Ohio River one time. The guy had it on, and there was literally a school of crappie like following the boat because we had and we turned it off, and they just went
gone.
It disappeared.
It's neat. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Randy Howe on the last Bassmaster, I think on Hartwell, he had it on, and that contributed to his doing so well in that tournament. So, yeah, it's kind of overlooked. It's overshadowed and overlooked, but it's still a part of important part of strategy. So, but anyway, now I talk about kayak tournaments. I said I'm just now kind of getting into them, and when practice, is there a certain pattern you practice, or you just kind of try different areas, try different things, or how do you practice for a kayak event?
Well, but before I even get in the water, I use a lot of my online resources. Like, for instance, like RB Bass Outdoors, I could look up some old fishing reports, maybe around that same time in previous years, and see what some of those guys kind of did at the lake, what was working for them. Then I check the water levels, stuff like that. In California, there's a lot of fluctuation with the water levels. Our lakes go up to like 200 plus feet deep.
Oh yeah.
And there's lakes over a week they'll come up 20 feet, 30 feet, then go down. So I'm checking the water levels. Using apps like Windy app to check the wind direction. For instance, if I know the wind's been blowing a couple of days, a certain time of year, especially this time of year during maybe a shad spawn or something, there might be certain areas of the lake that might have more bait pushed up in there. I might check these pockets first. Then when I go out, start breaking down the water, like most people, I'll start throwing reaction, stuff like that. But as I'm going to head to like the opposite bank that I launched from, I'm constantly paying attention to my side scan and stuff like that. And if I see something pops up, maybe it's a rock pile or a isolated tree, I'm gonna go check that out real quick. And of course, using that forward facing sonar, kind of scan it over real quick. Like this time of year, we have spawners, all three stages right now.
Yeah.
Top water bites just starting to turn on right now. So it'd be like a top water maybe first thing in the morning, then slow down to like shaky head. I would say the last 3 years probably I've had a lot of success with just a 4-inch Senko.
Yeah.
We'll throw a 5-inch, 6-inch. For some reason that 4-inch Senko is just been just a killer for me. I've been catching a lot of 6.5 pound bass on that in tournaments. And for whatever reason, maybe it's just something more subtle. It just works. I have no idea why. But,
I think sometimes the fall rate will have just a little bit of slower fall rate or faster fall rate, and I think that makes a difference. I've seen guys, fish with guys that scoping, and they'll change. As soon as they do, it starts getting bit. I mean, it's just like turn on a switch.
But breaking down water, I like to start. With California being a lot of deep reservoirs, I don't hit my point straight on. I come up on like the sides of the point.
Yep.
I throw my bait out to the deeper water and bring it up. Depends if it's a swim bait, glide bait, jig, or whatnot. My thing is if I'm throwing like, say for instance, glide bait or swim bait, I don't want to pull if the fish is following it because we get a lot of followers on those glide baits.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to pull that fish out to deeper water because there's a chance that it might just wander off and keep going, that it's not going to turn around and reset. That's the reason I come up kind of parallel on those points, going out to that deeper water. It just seems more natural because we have a lot of trout, kokanee salmon in the lakes around here, and it just looks more natural for one of those to be wandering up in that shallow water, and that bass, could just attack it like this is, going to get narrowed up on the bank or a rock pile or something.
Yeah. But you're talking about Tennessee lakes. They're a lot like that. I mean, they'll fluctuate 40, 60, 80, and there's some deep lakes. So you may feel at home when you go fish TVA lakes. It's like that. It fluctuates a lot. I mean, it's just all over the place.
Yeah. And, I fish points and I'll slowly work my way back towards the back of the cove. Sometimes there's fish. They're just off the points halfway back. Then sometimes we're in the back of the coves where it's protected, getting ready to spawn, stuff like that. And of course, you get, the males are up on the beds, and you get those females are just cruising or just suspending out on a little creek channel or inside a little cut or something. And, it's just bass fishing. It's always.
And if you're like me, like Friday you practice, you be on them, then Saturday everything changes. Wind, everything changes. It's like they're here somewhere. You got to refine them, put the puzzle back together.
Yeah, I had bedfish locked in. Go there the next day, wind change direction. It's all just completely blown out. Then it's like, geez, I gotta go find something new.
Yeah, or the water management agency drops the water like 8 foot, and the beds are like getting dry. It's like,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
TVA is notorious for doing that in Tennessee. Yeah, they're pretty good on that.
Yeah, the water fluctuates because they're like, aren't they trying to generate electricity or something?
Yeah, and then if you have a lot of rain, they'll kind of hold it in certain lakes. If there's a lot of rain, they'll kind of flood control it and just let a little bit at a time. But yeah, a little bit of both, the flood control and the power generation. So they got two factors going on. But I said they got some apps you can kind of figure out, how many generators are running, and it does help. They do have an app and kind of helps you out, figure it out.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But yeah, and then I know on Chickamauga, used to on Wash Bar, you could, lock down in tournaments to go fish Chickamauga, which a lot of guys did, but now they won't let you do that. They're worried about, I don't know. Yeah, like cross bring in fish. I don't know, but they won't let you do it anymore. So if you're in Watts Bar, you got to stay in Watts Bar. If you're in Chick, you got to stay in Chick. So yeah, used to you could lock through, and a lot of guys did, but they won't let you do it anymore.
Yeah, my buddy's been sending me pictures. He's fishing below the Watts Bar Dam, catching 5-6 pound smallies right now, and I'm just itching to get over there right now.
Oh yeah, that's a good area. I fish there a lot, and actually, there's a little nuclear plant right there, Watts Bar Nuclear. I worked on it 100 years ago when I was a young lad, just starting out. So, but it is a pretty area, and the water's real good. But yeah, it's a neat area, definitely.
Awesome.
But yeah, talking about kayaks, I know I'm trying to like add, here and there, rod holder here, and this and that. But it's pretty neat. One thing I know I've had trouble with, and I'm still kind of figuring out, is when you get a fish and you put it on the weight board. I've had so many, like, I'll have my hand on it and they're like flop, loose. I'm trying to put my net. I notice a lot of guys put the net on the end and don't have the stop board or the butt board. But whatever tips you got for like when you're weighing your fish and you're trying to hold the fish and you try to take a picture, what's some tips for me and the other anglers out there?
Yeah, put that net on the side. You got your bump board like this. Put that net right there on the side.
Yep.
Because they're always going to jump. If their head's pointing that way, they're jumping that way. But I've done it before in tournaments. I used to put it on my lap. I'm sitting down on my lap. All right, okay, get ready to take the picture. Gone. So I don't do it on my lap anymore. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you got that kung fu grip. You put it on the bottom of your kayak, and you put the hold on them, and maybe move the tail a little bit, to make sure it's touching that line. Mouth is closed, of course.
Yep.
Take a picture of it. Make sure you got that net there. Then what I would do after I take a couple pictures, I'll put it back in the net, and I'll have the net just in the water, kind of like a little live well. Yep. I used a little clip. It was one of my old sponsors, but other people have problems with them. I've never lost a fish on one of those donkey clips, I guess they were. I never had a problem with. Other people have. But I just leave it in the net. I'll check my photos, make sure everything's good, identifier, double check everything, because I made that mistake my last tournament at Berryessa. I'm like, picture, cool. I saw like other bedfish. I want to hurry up and fish. I didn't double check my photo, and I was taking a video. I took a video of it, and you can't submit a video, and I threw it back. It was like a 17.5. I was like,
Yep, I've done that. I've cut off the tail, and then like, oh man. But yeah, I like that. You used a net like a live well. That's pretty cool, man. Thanks for the tip. I never even thought about that. So
use it for a live well. I'm just trying to keep the fish alive, and I'm not trying to harm any of the fish. Or sometimes I'll hold them in the water, but put them in that net. It's just like a live well.
Oh yeah, and I heard there's some guys that say that they'll put it in the water before they measure it, and it kind of settles them down. But I don't know. But that's a good tip. I'll definitely do that.
That's true too, because I've had them when it's in between. Maybe it's almost 18 1/4, and you can't get it. Give it some. Put in that net. After you took some pictures, of course, just in case. Yeah. Put in that net. Leave it in the water. Maybe fix your bait, retie or something. Get that fish is all stressed out. It's a little tense. And most of the time you could put them in there and kind of maybe work that tail a little bit, make sure your hand placement's correct, and just cool. Got that 18 1/4 now. Nice.
I'll do that, man. Yeah. I'm glad I ain't the only one that's had that happen. Get everything right, put a hand there, and it's something like distracts you for a second, and then flop. There he goes. It's like, well, there went that.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh yeah, it does. But that's good tips, man. And I got one of the yak board. I like the yak attack leaderboards. I mean, the catch is good, but the one thing about the yak attack boards, leaderboards, is they float. So if it does get kicked out or something, it floats. It don't sink to the bottom. And I got it tethered too. But this seems like this makes it a little easier.
Yeah, that's a plus. I like those too. They're big.
Yep.
Yeah, I like them. Those are nice.
Yeah, and that little mirror on the bump board part, I really like that. I mean, it really, tell you can look at it just and it's, oh yeah, his lip is closed and it's touching it. So it's pretty cool. And the way they got their little leaderboard, you can put your codes on there. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, I like and everything. You can have like a month-long tournament. I'm in some of those, and some to the end of the year. Biggest fish in your state or region. So it's for guys like me, it's got a busy schedule. I mean, kind of fish when you can fish. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, those month-longs are fun. That's kind of how I first started in the kayak scene, and jumped in a couple tournaments. But those month-longs were fun, and just fishing your favorite water and just fishing on your time, a couple hours here and there.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I've had a ball. Like I said, I'm learning every time I go out. And I said I'm listening to every guys and talk to every guys. But I said the kayak guys, you're right on. They share. Hey, I did this on my kayak. Try this, or try that. And, give you recommendations. But and everybody can personalize their kayak, kind of individually. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's amazing how like the technology, like the Bonafide's got that XTR 130 battleship. I mean, it's pretty cool. Some of the innovations that you see and come out on the newer models and stuff coming out. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really putting a lot of thought into the design with the kayaks now. They're making them built to put motors on now, little casting decks, and they're really tricking them out. I mean, it's just like a miniature boat now. I mean, unbelievable. I have people I work with. They're like, "You fish from a kayak, and aren't you afraid of falling out?" I'm like, "These are stable. I could stand up and no problem. I could sit there and flip a whole bank standing up and not even worry about it."
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, like I said, when I got started, I just threw it in the back of my truck. I mean, and you don't have to have a trailer. I mean, with the boats, motors is always you'll have an issue. You're going to hit a rock. You're going to hit, mess up your lower end or your prop. And it's just a lot lower maintenance, a lot less stress. And I said in the tournaments, I think it's cool because you can launch out at any public ramp, or if you want to move, you can drive around to another public ramp. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I joke around with people, some of my buddies with boats and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I haven't put a gallon of gas in my kayak since I got it. In California, gas right now is about $4.50 to like $5 a gallon.
Ooh, well, that's not good.
You got your Ranger, Bass Cat, or Trident, you're filling that thing up. That's a lot of money.
And your truck, and then your truck on top of that.
Absolutely.
But and then I just got a paddle on mine, and it's cool because like on local ramps, if you're just got a paddle instead of power, they'll let you launch for free. So and then you don't have to register it unless you got a motor on. So
that's good.
Yeah. So you could start out like me, paddling and starting out, and then add the motor later, just slowly upgrade stuff. So I think that's pretty cool, and especially us guys with a budget and a family and everything else going on. So that's the way to go.
Yeah, it's neat. We have guys, some of the main circuits I fish Yakka bass. You get guys coming and going. We'll get up to like 120, 130 guys show up. Sometimes we only get 80, but if we get new people every year, and the sport's constantly just growing out here. It's real impressive. It's making it more affordable for a lot of people. And with this golden mussel issue we have going on in California, the kayak guys we have more access now than the boaters to some of these lakes. So we almost have these lakes to ourselves right now.
Oh yeah. I remember during the COVID time, I go out to one of my local lakes, and I had a buddy that worked at Cabela's, and they'd have a shipment of kayaks in. Next day, they was gone. And you go out to the local lake, and there'd be whole families in kayaks. It was kind of cool because it was like a sea of kayaks, and there's still a lot of them out there. So, but it makes it really affordable and fun, easier, less stress, But talking about another advantage I didn't realize is when I go out, I get lures up in trees, lures on the bank where the boats can't get where the rocks are. So I'll come with more lures than what I started with. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, it's neat getting this real skinny water that the boats can't get into, and even if this fish from a kayak, especially in the Delta, I could go in some real skinny water, but I started learning more about fishing different angles.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a boat, you're kind of you're restricted a little bit more. You're just fishing the weed line instead of like at Delta, they have this thing it's called the trough. And it's basically you got a big riprap bank and you have the weed line out here. And in that trough part, it's just open.
Yep.
And a lot of times you can't fish it from a boat, from a kayak. You just drift right over in there and you just start casting with a chatterbait or something. And all of a sudden, it's like, I didn't know all these fish were here. And it's amazing sometimes.
Oh yeah, because they haven't been molested. I mean, they've had it, to themselves. So I mean, but that's one thing I like. You get in areas that, especially if you got like a day that's got the pleasure boaters and all, and you can go back in a little creek or cove, and you're not getting beat around and banged around like a basketball. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just fish from a kayak. Your restrictions. You know how far you could go in a tournament. Like I got a Newport NK 300 on mine, and I know my range. I know how long it's going to take me to get to this point, to there on the lake. And you really kind of strategize and you start fishing more efficient. You end up really picking apart areas a lot more than the boat. When I had a boat, I'm just like zipping over here. Then I'm like, I'm going to go over here. Then I'm going over there. Then I'm there. And, it's this, if I would take some of the stuff I learned from fishing with a kayak to like a boat side, I think it's just going to make you better fisherman overall.
Oh, absolutely. You'll fan cast. Like I said, you're absolutely right. You'll fan cast more. It seemed like it. I know I've caught a 4-pounder within 4 or 5 foot of my boat before, and you don't seem like you do that on a bass boat. I don't know if it's the ping or the sonar or just the bass can feel, some big object, but it seems like we can sneak up a lot closer and catch them a lot closer. And it was on a square bill, and I caught a 4.5 within 4 or 5 foot of the kayak, which was surprising.
Yeah, it's neat, especially again referring back to Clear Lake back in August for our West Coast Championship. I was in this slough called Rodman Slough, and if you look on my YouTube, you're watching me just pitching like 6 feet in front of my kayak.
Yep.
In these little pockets, and I'm just hooking them, and it's only like 6 to 7 feet of water, and these fish are just jumping in front of me, and they're big fish.
Yeah.
And it's neat because these fish are literally, they just see this thing up there and it's like, oh, what's that? And they're so curious and they just swim right underneath you. And they're just like, this fish is like 3 feet below me.
Yep.
They just think you're like a big log or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I know the smallmouth do that a lot. Smallmouth will get like right under you. And it's like you'll jig like a little drop shot down or something in front of them, but they'll be like right up under you, tucked right up under your kayak. It's kind of funny.
It is so neat. It's like I almost want to get like some stickers of some bait fish or something to put underneath my kayak.
I'd really mess them up. You'd have the whole school following you around then.
Oh, it's neat, absolutely neat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we've talked about some of the advances. I mean, it's And one thing I tell folks that's wanting to get into it or curious if they can handle a kayak. I got lucky. We got a local lake that rents them out. So you can rent them out for 2 hours or half a day. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go out there for half a day fishing one and see if I like it. And I did. And didn't dump out, didn't go swimming. So, but yeah, for people that's wanting to kind of are curious about it, go find somewhere that rents kayaks out and rent them out for 2 hours or half a day and see if you like it. And oh, yeah. It's absolutely, and I did. I loved it. I was like, yeah, I can do this. So, but and there's a lot of good deals out there. I mean, a lot of guys will upgrade kayaks here, or they're getting a bigger. So I got a used one and got a good deal on it. But for somebody just starting out, I mean, it was perfect. What I use it for and what I got it for.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, and get out and go try out a kayak, and you're like, oh, like you said, like, oh, I could do this. Then all of a sudden you're getting one with a pedal drive and you're like, oh, now my hands are free.
Yep.
Then, oh, I get a motor for this too. Then before you know it, it gets pretty out of hand. There's so many upgrades and different companies that make so many attachments and accessories for kayaks now. for like lighting and, different holders for all different things. You can have like your whole everything all around you. You don't even have to like move or anything. It's really, really amazing how far kayaks have come along.
Oh yeah, like I said, everybody, you can outfit it like you want. I mean, I look at guys how they got theirs outfitted. Oh, I never thought about that. That's cool. But and then the battery I think the battery technology, the lithium batteries, the weight savings it timed out right when the kayak started getting big in the motors. The battery technology kind of kept up with it. So
yeah, I run 4 batteries on my kayak. I have 2, one for each graph, and I have 2 for my motor. One's a backup one, just in case if I ran a little too far and I got to get back. But yeah, I'm always that person who's like over prepared and stuff. Like I got a tournament this weekend at Clear Lake, and I've been getting my stuff ready since yesterday. And I'll probably end up throwing a Senko and jigging a minnow around and maybe looking for some bedfish. So
yeah, and you still got 20, 30 bags in your crate behind you, just in case.
I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it don't take long, man. I'm same way. I'm like, I got more than some tackle shops got, I think, some days when I start going through it. Or you look for a certain bait and you're like, can't find it, and you'll buy 6 at tackle shop. And then when you get back for a tournament, you found them. Now you got like 20 packs. It's like, dang.
It's the same thing. Yep.
It's hard. It's a to keep organized, keep top of it. It's a constant battle. And we got a quick comment. Isaiah West says, "Shh, there's no bedfish."
So that's my team partner. We're fishing a team series for the kayaks. So
neat.
Yeah, it's neat. Two man team. We each have our own kayak and stuff, and that's been fun this year, because you don't necessarily have to fish together or the same area. We could launch. We have an open launch, so we could fish. I'll go launch on the north end. He could go launch at Mid Lake or the south end or something, Or if we're both on the north end of the lake, we could talk to each other. Say, hey, there's a big school over here. Get over here quick, or it's neat. You can really break down water. It's really, really cool.
That's pretty nice. I was wondering about that, how they just combine your length, your totals, or
total length for our best 5 between both of us.
Okay.
Yeah. The first year that Yakabass did this format, and it's fun. A lot of people like it. It's just neat. You're not. It's not just you against everyone else. We come up with little strategies. We're practicing on different days and different areas of the lake. And yeah, I think I think after this year, it's probably going to get even bigger, probably.
Oh, definitely. I'm starting to see them out in the East Coast and up north. I'm seeing more and more of them. But that's pretty cool. And I think eventually the catch, photo, release, I think some of the other bass organizations is got to look at that hard, because I mean that's yeah. I mean, well, I know Del Hollow, it's got a weird slot limit on smallmouth. It's like 12 to 15 inches. You can have one and one over 21. But on the kayak, you can have 12-inch or more because you're releasing it. So, and you release them like in bed fishing. I mean, you catch one, photo it, put it back in the water, it goes right back to the bed instead of like going 5 miles down the lake or something. So
right, yeah, no, I agree, and and unfortunately, there's always going to be that one person who's trying to bend the rules or possibly cheat or something, and a lot of those guys have been caught. There's guys, they're measuring boards who have cut them and try to mend them together. There was years back the guy who cut the tail off a bass and who would slide the tail underneath and cover up the tail on the fish he caught, and there's always going to be those guys.
Oh yeah. Well, KBF has got a new thing out where you photo your fish, like you always do, but then you video it, and if there's any like protest or anything, you video it like letting it go. So if somebody says, "Oh, it's the same fish," you got a video to back it up.
Yeah, and I remember, that came out this year. Chad mentioned that, and I think that was a great idea, because what's stopping someone from, maybe sharing a fish, or they had that fish, someone else, a boat caught it or something. Who knows? I mean, there's lots of possibilities, but it's unfortunate when people get greedy, when there's money involved. And, I mean, we all saw what happened with those walleye guys, and there's way too fish, that all blew up. And that kind of just the whole fishing industry, people are like, hey, don't you fish tournaments? I'm like, not walleye, not in California. But like, yeah, unfortunately that stuff happens, but it's not worth it to me.
No.
I've been doing this my whole life, and to put that on my name or any of these sponsors and stuff, I couldn't live with myself.
Yeah.
It's that, there's times I caught a bedfish and the hook was just outside the mouth, and I'm like, bye. I'm like, I 45 minutes and couldn't catch it, and I'm like, forget it.
But you sleep better at night.
Absolutely.
You just you're like, hey, I later you think about it, you're like, yeah, I did the right thing. So
yeah. But again, with that Tourney X thing, so we have a tournament circuit out here by Bass Angler Magazine, and they call it a Super 60. It's like our elite anglers, I guess, on the West Coast. So it's a 3-day tournament, and to make it to the third day, they take the top 5 in weight for the 2 days, and they go by fish count, the top 5 in fish count. So what other keepers is, it has to be over, say, 14 inches.
Yeah.
Tourney X app, they have the same measuring boards we use, like a catch board or yak tack board or something. They'll take a picture of it. It's over the certain size, and they submit it. That's 1 fish. They submit another one, 2 fish. So there's guys, last one's at Don Pedro, and I think the guy had the fish count. He had like 43 fish or something he submitted.
Wow.
Okay, so he made it top 5 in fish count and then top 5 in weight. On day 3, all weights, fish counts are all erased.
Yep.
So those top 10 guys all start from 0. So it's not like, unfortunately, like we saw, say, Brandon Polinick in Florida just run away with it. Didn't even have to fish the last day.
Yep.
The recent Elite Series, then, it's like, well, we know who's going to win it. They start starting from scratch. They're starting from 0. And the guy who actually had the highest fish count, who wasn't winning in weight, actually ended up winning the tournament. Because through those 2 days of competition, he figured some stuff out. And the lake's also like off limits, I think, for like 30 days too.
Right.
So they're fishing totally blind, and it's a good format. And all the anglers who fish it, even Ishman Rowe fishes it as well. Who else fished? I think Bryant Smith was out here also. He fished it.
Wow.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. So
absolutely. And like I said, it's funny. I was at a shop today, and a guy, I think he had a demo like a Hobie Lynx, and I think he wanted to get his daughter out, try it. She had the pedal drive, and that little 9-year-old girl was like going around the lake, like shoo, just doing laps. And she wanted one for Christmas, and they ended up getting her. And man, she just, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, for a 9-year-old, she gets around the lake better than I do. I'll admit it. But it's pretty cool to see, the kids, even 9, 10, like even teenagers. Now I know one of my local colleges here in Kentucky, they have a kayak bass team, college level.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. See, when I was in college, we didn't have even college bass teams or any of that opportunity. If that was available, who knows where I would be right now. I was going down that direction. This didn't have all the opportunities and stuff. Like,
me and my best friend lives in Alabama. We graduated together. We talk about it all the time. Is, man, if we was on a bass team, we'd have never skipped school and went fishing. Yeah. Like my senior year, I skipped a bunch and went fishing. It's like, man, if we had a bass team, I'd have stayed in school and probably got better grades.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Life takes us in different directions. And like, I grew up in Folsom, went to Folsom High School.
Yep.
And like down the street from me, like a block away, Justin Lucas lived there.
Oh, wow.
After I graduated, and I'm like, I didn't know you lived there. He's like, oh yeah, I live. I'm like, I live on South Lexington. It was right down the street. Never even knew it and stuff. But he got on, did the FLW National Guard scene, and just moved his way up, and now he's doing his thing and fishing from a kayak.
Hey, each his own, man. That's one thing about fishing. I mean, you got guys that fish the bank, and I mean, it's different. Fishing is different things to different people. I mean, you got a choice. Like there's live bait guys, there's catfish guys, crappie guys, but we're all kind of the same boat basically. So, yep. And got a quick comment from Dave Raleigh. Dave Raleigh says, "Hey, y'all, what's happening?"
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Hey, what's going on, Dave? Hope you're doing all right, man. What kind of fish you got? That's a big smallie. That's a nice smallie, man. Congrats, man. That's a tank right there. I'm definitely jealous of that one. But yeah, it's funny. We talk about this all the time. That fishing's a big, big group of folks, but they're real tight knit. I mean, I've seen guys, pros help, a little 18-year-old guy that messed his motor up, and big pros out there like at 10 o'clock at night before the tournament helping him get his boat together and get running. And had guys had some rods stole, and everybody had him, enough rods to make it through the tournament. So just stuff like that just blows my mind.
Yeah, that's great. Like we've had one of my buddies, Brandon, at our Berryessa tournament a couple years ago. He rolled his kayak and lost like everything except for one rod, bunch of tackle. Came back with one shoe. Like,
jeez,
it was bad. Then a bunch of us got together, had a little barbecue at my house, and said, "Hey, Brandon, come in the garage," and got him some rods, some new tackle, and got him hooked up, and just keep him, just keep him on the water. But I think a lot of fishermen overall have good intentions, and everybody wants to help each other out. Like my thing is, if just getting kids on the water, it's like the future sport. I got little ponds and stuff by me. I'll have like extra packs of like, Senkos or Robo Worms or something in my truck, and I'll swing by the pond, see some guys, some youngsters fishing. Hey guys, how you doing? Here, like, give them a couple packs of Senkos or something, and just little things like that. If I see guys on the lake and I see they don't totally know what they're doing, maybe I'm, hey, let me see that. What do you got there? I'll tie them on a couple things and, hey, try this out. And, I think a lot of people could reflect on memories when they're a kid catching that first fish, and
absolutely
the things that it does for their future. Like I'm not sure out where you are, but we see a lot of youngsters, kids on their phones and just doing this and, all that. It's like, get outside, go to quarters. And, I got a
couple tackle shops. They always give a lot of kids combo. They have like a kids fishing day at a local pond or lake, and they give away tons of combos and lures. I mean, it's great. And you just see, 125, 150 kids out fishing. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. I try to get my girls out when I can to the lake by us, get them out fishing. So I fish with this Jack Bass organization, and at the end of the year, we do a big banquet and stuff, and some of the local it's a San Joaquin like junior bass club.
Yep.
They'll come out, and all the money we get from like our raffle and stuff, we end up giving to them, and a bunch of guys will donate some tackle and stuff as well for their club. And just everyone's trying to support the future of the sport.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. That's all right. And Dave Raleigh, he commented back. He said, first bass on a bait caster, 18.5 Prego Smallie on a chatterbait. Man, that's awesome. For your first bass on the bass bait caster, it's gonna be hard to beat, man.
Yeah.
And he says, Dave says, very preseason here in Vermont. Yeah, I can imagine. We're almost all most of our fish here in Kentucky, Tennessee is post spawn. There's still kind of late spawners, but and then he said pre spawn. Yep. So he meant very pre spawn instead of preseason. Okay, I got you, Dave. But hey, congrats, man. That's a great catch. But keep on keeping on, brother. That's what I say.
Yeah, we got them in all three phases right now in most of the lakes in my area in Northern California. We'll get some spawners all the way up to June.
Wow.
At the latest, there's still some up on beds, usually some smaller bucks and stuff that are up there. They're kind of confused probably. But right now, my buddy Isaiah, who chimed in earlier, he was at Clear Lake today, and I can't wait to get there on Friday.
I heard that. Yeah, I've heard down in Florida they'll have like 2 spawns. They'll have a second spawn in the. Well, they're warm all year round too, so that's a little different. But
yeah.
But Dave says thanks, and I sub. Hey, thanks, Dave. Hope you enjoy it. We did have the man himself, Chad Hoover, on a few weeks ago. If you go to YouTube, we got our previous bunch of previous shows. So if you're interested in it, hey, we've been podcasting about a year, so we got quite a few guests, and we have great guys like Shaun on, talking fishing and kayaking. So we're blessed, so for sure.
Yeah, Chad's a good guy. I know he was getting a little slack on social media and stuff, but that guy is just an honest guy. He puts everything out there. So
oh yeah, he's got his heart and soul in it. There is no doubt. Yeah. And Dave says, "Yep, I know him." Yeah, man, Chad's just soft air for people, man. I mean, you can't help but like a guy like that, man. He pours his heart and soul into it, and you can tell. And he's brought that from where he's created where it is now, and it's just getting higher and higher. So, and he does a lot of stuff for the veterans and stuff. So, hey, hats off to Chad Hoover. So, but yeah, we're about 10 minutes for the hour, so we like to keep around the hour. But I always like to give our guests a chance to shout out their sponsors and people's helped them out. So, if you want, you got the floor to thank your sponsors and give some shout outs. So, floor is yours, Shaun.
Give a couple plugs. I'm going to show a couple of the baits off too. I got them right here. Yeah, this guy and so I'm gonna show some of these baits on. I got a little bit of time. So, Frenzy Baits, great guitarist, owner of the company. He's out of Red Bluff, California. He actually won the Don Pedro tournament recently. So he puts a lot of thought in these baits, former Bassmaster guy, all that jazz. So his shaky head right here, the Frenzy Baits Nell, he put a ton of thought behind this. I have fished a Shasta tournament and an Oroville tournament with the same shaky head. 1/4 ounce, 3/16 ounce. And the little barb system keeps the bait in place. Good stout hook on there. I also use it bed fishing too with certain little creature baits as well. So with the forward facing game, I want to try to do this the best I can. So same style like a range roller, but it doesn't have that goofy little barb thing that sticks out that tears up your bait. He's got the double barb on there. Your bait will stay in place. This is a hard one to see. So the front part it's almost like a little bullseye. That's so it reflects off your forward facing sonar better, so you get better return. So it's going to show up better. Good stout hooks. So these are only right now available on frenzybaits.com on his website. All my other sponsors, Dobbins Rods. I've been with Dobbins for quite some time. Fished with Gary before an FLW tournament. I know they're bought by GSM. It is what it is. It's a business. Lear Drywall. He's the one that helps pay to get me in these tournaments. RoboWorm, because of part of GSM. We use a lot of hand-poured style baits out here in the West Coast. 6-inch margarita emulator is. I even used it at Watts Bar, and it works on the docks there too. Love it.
Yep, that and the Aaron's Morning Dawn. That's my top 2 colors.
Yeah. Then, of course, other stuff with GSM, Yamamoto, of course, can't go wrong with that stuff. But yeah, I'm not trying to I know people have different ideas about sponsors and stuff. I have some that pay the bills. I have some that, I get deals with, but that's going to lead to stuff later on when I'm doing other sponsors. They want to see what you're doing with these. So, and of course, rbbassfishing.net. We have guys all the way to the East Coast and stuff that represent us. We're just trying to promote the sport and help some people, teach them some stuff along the way.
Absolutely. But you're funny. I threw a frenzy nail Saturday. So
yeah,
I'm down with frenzy nail. I got a whole bunch of them. So that's one of my favorite shaky heads.
It is. Like Greg put a lot of thought in. He won't put this stuff out until he has fished it and fine-tuned it and got it down with the angle of the hook, like everything. Yeah. These are absolute money.
Oh yeah, they are. And their quality. I mean, everyone you get, there's no, you gotta, take the paint out of the eyes. I mean, the eyelets are all perfect. I mean, yeah, he's got a solid product.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. I mean, I don't think the elites will come out to the West Coast probably ever again, in my opinion. Yeah. I think money-wise, I don't think the support from some of the cities are there in regards to them kind of paying, hey, come out here to Clear Lake, come out here to fish our Delta. I don't see it happening. It's too expensive, honestly. Yeah. I hope it does again. I think it's been since 2012, I think it was last time.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. I don't know if it's going to happen. The fishing scenes out here are great besides bass. The state record smallmouth was caught down the street from me. It was like a 9-something. My buddy got it, had the record for a week. The next week, it was broken. But that is closed for boats right now. We have some different agencies that control the water and lakes in California, and they can't get together to figure out what we're going to do about these golden mussels. But yeah, we have all sorts of fishing out here on the West Coast. But unfortunately, like salmon are kind of shut down right now, fortunately. But there's some great bass fishing right now if you come out to Clear Lake.
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to some of my shops out there, and they're like, last year's, oh yeah, they're just frog fishing and catching 7-8 pounders, big deal. I'm like, huh? Yeah. But yeah, it is an awesome fishery and awesome out there. But man, seeing some of those mega spots y'all got out there bringing in is unbelievable.
Yeah. Actually, in Oregon, someone's caught a 9.3 pound spot in Oregon.
Jeez.
Oh, the whole West Coast spotted bass are getting pretty big right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, our buddy Dave says, my neighbor has a mess of Dobbins rods. I want to get one for trout. Oh, absolutely, man.
Well, trout series. Yep. For the air series, make some trout rods. Yeah.
Yeah. And that 806, I like that Dobbins 806 for like glide baits and the big baits. That's an awesome rod.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. But yeah, hey man, I appreciate you coming on, and man, we'll have to have you on again after season and go over your season, how it went, and man, appreciate all you do, and man, best of luck and tight lines the rest of the season for you.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Hey, and I appreciate you coming on, and hey, thanks Dave for tuning in, and all the people that's tuned in, and if you want to hang around just for a minute, Dave, after we get off, I'll talk to you just for a minute. So with that. We're going to have, I think tomorrow, Mike Mueller is going to be on tomorrow, and y'all tune in for that. Mike's a great guy, and he's had a great season. So tune in to Mike. He's a good friend of mine, and always brings it. So again, thanks everybody. Thanks Shaun, and hang around just for a minute, and I'll talk to you just for a few. Peace out, guys. Have a good week.